Okay, here's side two. Um, Gee, Joe walked through and heard what I was saying. He said, "Geez, it's not that bleak, Elsa." So I hope I haven't over bleaked it. I didn't mean to, but I do want you to get a sense that there are not a lot of jobs, and in the areas you're talking about, which is construction and perhaps buying and fixing up houses, that I don't know enough about it to say. I really don't. But I just want you to get a realistic picture of what's going on here. That buying houses is expensive, labor costs in fixing them up, and materials are quite expensive. So you do need cash, that's all. Gee, I haven't said anything about your tape. Angela, your voice is just gorgeous. Absolutely. We are just all filled with smiles when we hear you sing and make words. You just are a beautiful girl, no question about it. Your big packet came today with your Korean newspaper and the other one, which I haven't looked at yet because I wanted to, reminded me to get on this stick and I just had to get to this tape. But I sure hope we can find someone that is Korean. I don't know anybody offhand, so we're going to have to look around because I want to read what it says. You look fine. You're still mustached, I see, Fred. But I'd like to read it. I just don't know how we'll do finding a Korean, but I'll scout around and see what we can do. I hope I've answered the things you've talked about. You have asked an awful lot about the economy, and I'll leave a little bit on this for Joe. Maybe he can say a lot more that makes sense than I can. But about us, well, Joe has had a very busy winter. It just happened that a lot of jobs had deadlines at the same time, and he'd get calls from the printer to come check proofs, at 8 o'clock at night. Then he'd go back at 11, and he'd work Sundays and evenings, and it was just a lot of time. But now it's eased off, and this is the first Saturday he's been home, and heaven knows how long. It's just great. He got to watch the second to the end playoffs for some invitational basketball deal where I watched the second half and poor Oregon lost by 1 point in a thriller. And it was kind of fun for him to be able to do that on a Saturday because he's usually down at work for sure on Saturdays. So we're just kind of poking around, cleaning up. We had some guys in, some landscape guys, pruning. We've got big old growth trees and things that were just completely out of line, just shoots sticking up way higher than the house. And so we've had some professional pruning come in and cleaned up the yard. And no big major stuff on the house right now. It's just kind of regular maintenance. The first floor already, though, should be repainted with all the little chips and dings, but it's nothing we'll do with a toddler in the house. We'll just wait until Matt's older, and since we hope very much to have another one, and whenever it can happen, that we'll just wait till that period of our life is over, and then I suppose repaint the downstairs, which is getting pretty well used now. The second floor is still nice and fresh, and then our third floor, which is sort of like a finished attic, is off in the future. Any remodeling plans there. Um, with another child would come the thoughts about perhaps a bedroom for when somebody gets older and wants privacy. Right now, my studio's up there, and then a spare bedroom, which is also storage. Joe's dark room is completed on the second floor, but poor old Joe's been at work so much he hasn't really used it. He's finally fixed it up and gotten it all set up, but he just hasn't been in there to use it. But I think now he's going to start having more time. Um, as far as me, I just completed preparing my show a few months back, which I hope you got the mailer for. It went up March 9th, and I'm very pleased. It's, I feel, my most professional effort in terms of the work and the way it's presented. I think I cut mats better, and they're all beautifully framed. And I think the work has matured. Um, Joe seemed to feel that way too, and I suppose that makes me feel good. Sales aren't like the old days when I did $20 cheapy drawings, and didn't frame them. They're higher priced and not people don't buy as readily, but I've sold a good dozen anyway. Hopefully they'll sell some more or have sold some more since then. Um, of course, they'll keep things in the gallery too. But I'd say it was a success considering the lovely things that don't get sold as you get in a higher range, when you're not a little beginner. We just, in fact, this morning went with Matt to some galleries and browsed around in a junk store. And one guy, beautiful, beautiful watercolors. And I think one had sold from the whole show. And it's just very sad uh, because artists don't sell a heck of a lot. So I'm pleased that I've sold some and have had good response, a couple of reviews. Um, so I guess that's the most important thing, is that I feel good about the show. Um, Matt is really something. Everything you've said is true about kids. They just get better all the time, and you keep thinking they're full, total human beings at day one, and then when they're 3 months old, you just can't believe you ever thought they were so neat before, because now they're so complete and they can do everything. And then when they're a year, you think that again, and so on. I mean, now it's just like he's an old shoe, like he's always been around, and he's just like us, does everything we do except talk and all that kind of stuff. But uh, gee, he's just like an old friend now. Um, but at each stage, he's just wonderful. He does say some words. He doesn't say phrases yet. He's 20 and 2/3 months old, and he's beautiful. He's just sweet and kind, and for a while now he's been imitating. He goes around with his rag and dusts and cleans up just like Mommy. And we get out of the shower, and there's Matt holding our towel, saying, "Here you go," and brings us slippers and glassware. He's handing us drinks all the time. He just wants to be part of the group very badly. He's very big in his truck period. He goes all the time, pushing little cars and trucks around and building blocks. And oh gosh, he loves trucks. When we go on walks, he just goes out of his head. Buses and the guys working in the street. Gee, he just loves all those machines and anything on wheels he loves. It's very interesting. Nobody tells a little boy or a little girl to do dolls or do trucks. It's all built in, I guess. We never pushed it. He started going pushing slippers around before he even had a car or a truck. I guess little boys just know they're little boys. It's very funny. But he's really a wonderful kid. Same thing you say about Angela, but couldn't be happier with him. He's just a beautiful little person. He's sort of a combination of both of us as far as looks. I guess he's his own self. Sometimes he reminds me just of Joe, the way his eyes look, and then when he smiles, he looks just like me. So I don't know, he'll just be Matt, I guess, his own little person. Well, I think I'm going to stop now and get Joe, and he'll have a few things to say.
Well, hello, Fred, Angela, and Solja. I hope you're all feeling well. Elsa says she's gotten quite a bit of information to you, and I want to offer my best wishes for a very pleasant birth of your second child, which is very, very near, Elsa says. And I hope it all goes well, and I hope he or she is as beautiful as Angela Lee. Well, Fred, I might be able to add a few words to what Elsa was saying about the job situation as I see it. It's the architectural firms that I know of around town. It's hard to say whether the whole community is busy, but there are certain firms that are busy quite often and some that get slow at times. And one young fellow who depended an awful lot on small housing, small apartments, went out of business completely. He just couldn't sustain it anymore, and there wasn't enough happening, so they sort of went out of business. But the firm that I'm associated with, or at least share space with, they've got enough work. They've been going along kind of fairly steadily on a lot of projects that just keep the doors open. Nothing terribly exciting. And I think that they consider themselves rather fortunate if they can just have that keep happening in a time when a lot of firms just can't. I don't know if the situation is is like a depression. My business is I'm busier than I ever have been, but it's different when you have a single individual and a firm can do a lot of things in the visual communications field. I don't depend on any one source for my work nor any one client. I work in a variety of areas, so I'm likely to have work at a time when a lot of other people aren't. So my own personal situation is a bad barometer for how the business and how things might be in this area at any time. You have to excuse me for a second there. My son Matt here was pawing at me, wanting me to pick him up and hold him while I'm playing with this tape recorder. Anything with knobs and wheels, and buttons drive him nuts. So he's here looking and watching while I speak into this funny thing called a microphone. Well, I was saying how busy I was personally, and so today was the first time in probably 2 or 3 months that I haven't worked Saturdays, and so we sort of had a pleasant day. Matt and I and Elsa, we went out for a ride and did a little shopping, went and visited my mother, and toured a couple of the galleries. And it's sort of a treat because I just gotten so far behind in everything that just to get out for a pleasant day without any pressures, without having to think of a deadline, was really was very nice. I enjoy it. I've been stuck working Saturdays and Sundays quite a bit lately, and it's the way it is in the business. I'm thankful I have enough business that if I'm stuck working weekends, that's the way it is. I'd get into something else if I didn't like it. But the reason why I have been very busy is that this is annual report season, and I've done this year 4 annual reports for corporations, and I've been almost more than I can handle because of the funny nature of annual reports with absolute deadlines that you can't wiggle out of, and when the thing says go, you've got to go, and working weekends is all part of the routine. But today was the last part of it. I went up and checked the last proof on the press. That was this morning at 9, and okayed it. So that means it's, as far as my part of it goes, it's finished. And I think the big pressure of my workload is sort of over. And just thank God, because I just got a little tired of that sort of thing. So maybe now I can get out and start doing a little bit of photography on my own, and maybe occasional weekend work, which I sort of suspect will happen. But I hope that maybe not until summer will I be stuck working long hours again. In further sort of reply to your questions about work possibilities up here, I think maybe if you had any specific kinds of information you would need, maybe send you some sections of the WAN ads or the professional, the local magazines, if any. If you are seriously thinking of looking into architecture, I could maybe make an inquiry or into what's available for people who might be interested in moving into this area. I think maybe the local AIA office here might have something, and just let me know what you think you might need or could use. It's sort of out of my field. I know a little bit, of course, about what jobs are available in the design profession, and it's really tough when you're in the design profession because there's no developmental area like being a draftsman in an architect's office. But at least I know what the possibilities are, but not so much so in the architectural field. So if you do need anything, any specific requests, let me know. We'll do the best we can to help fill them. It's getting close to the end of the tape here, and my son hasn't uttered a sound. He's starting to talk a lot, and sometimes we can even understand him, but he has been super silent here. So I'm going to say goodbye for me, and I'm going to say goodbye for Matt. Say something. Come on, say something. Super Silent Sam. So here's Elsa to wind it up. Take care. See you all perhaps soon.
I think Matt's kind of awed by this tape recorder because he's just staring. He's not making any noises at all. He's kind of overcome by it. I wish we could get him to talk for you. In the background is some kind of sizzly sound. That's a turkey breast I'm sizzling over there. I don't know if it makes noises that you can hear or not. Also, artichokes. It's artichoke night. You know, Joe never had an artichoke until I fixed him. So I kind of got him into artichokes because I told him we grew up on artichokes. I'm still grateful for you because you never liked the artichoke heart, and I always got two. But maybe by now you've learned to like them. Not much else to say. We're all fine. No colds. Everybody's healthy. Joe still string bean Joe, and I've stayed the same. I still exercise in the mornings. It's part of my life now. So I feel very fit. I feel better than I ever did, I guess. Um, and Matt's pretty healthy too. We appreciate all your communicating and are just sorry we haven't been as good about it. I'll try to be more prompt in the future. As Joe said, it's just kind of been a long winter, and preparing 55 new pieces for that drawing show took all my spare time, I guess. And then he wasn't home a lot, so we just never had a nice quiet day to sit around and make a tape. Hopefully that will change and we'll get to you more often. Of course, I try to add just one line anyway when I write for Dad, but that's not much of anything, just a big excuse of why I haven't written. Is about all I've ever said to you. Also, we'll try and send you photos next time. We've taken less often than we used to now that his changes aren't so rapid as in that first year, but we still take pictures and we'll try and get a few off to you in the next batch we take. We've, it's been about a month now, I guess, since we've taken any. I'm scared the thing's going to run off but in the middle of a sentence here, so I don't know if I should talk or not talk. I can't think of what to say, except the daffodils are out, and the camellias are out, and the forsythia's out, and the blossoms are out, and goodbye.